Yeah, welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. As government targets the production of 1 million tons of cocoa next year, some farmers of the crop are dreading the impact that a new surge in cases of the black pod disease could have on next season's harvest. Farmers complain inadequate supply of herbicides by Cocoa Board could worsen the situation. My colleague Justice Baidu has been to the western region town of JoyNews, where fresh cases of the disease have ravaged many farms.
These farmers have come together to help each other with work on their cocoa farms. Harvesting is one of the busiest times of the year, but this year it's not business as usual. Many of the cocoa pods in this heap have been affected by the black pod disease, like what is in my hand now. If you break it into two, you realize that it's all black in here, and it means all of this goes to waste. Now, for every 10 at least that I count in this heap, if not less than 5 that have been affected by this disease. It goes to show what impact it has for the future of cocoa production, not just for communities like this, but for the entire country. 40-year-old Ebenezer Tete's farm is one of the worst affected in this area. The herbicides are very expensive. They give us herbicides to help control the disease, but it's not enough. And they rarely come. One farmer gets 4 bottles, no matter the size of your farm. So imagine you have 10 acres of cocoa. How can you control the disease? The black pod could be one of the most devastating diseases that could attack the cocoa fruit. It starts when the infected pods show some little yellow spots, which eventually turn brown and then lie to black bruises within 5 days. It could cover the entire pod after 8 days of infection. It does not only show on the surface of the pod, but also attacks the beans. We used to get fertilizers and the herbicides for free. Many farmers were getting them, but now they are asking us to buy them. Even that, we were hoping the cocoa prices could be increased to support us, but it has not changed. Ghana's cocoa production has been on the decline since the historic 1 million ton harvest in 2010, taking a hard hit on government revenues. If the recent spread of the black pod disease is not checked, the harvest could be hit even further. Justice Baidu, JoyNews, JoyNews.
Member of Parliament for Jobo Minta Kando is calling on the House to summon a Greek minister to Parliament to respond to issues affecting the sector.
It's supposed to be cocoa insecticide, and it is in the market, and my checks indicate that it has not been approved. And so I wanted the minister responsible for food and agriculture to come and answer to that particular question, whether or not that chemical has been approved. And that is a Rockstar cocoa insecticide. I mean, you recall that quite recently we've had our cocoas in the world market being rejected, and these are some of the reasons, because they told us that the chemical component of our cocoa beans are increasing, and therefore they rejected our cocoa beans. And so any chemical that is used in that very industry must be approved by Cocoa Research Institute, you understand? And so I find it very, very difficult to understand why such chemicals are in the market. And so it has to do, one, with the backbone of the economy, cocoa, and it has to do with our health, because if the chemical is not approved, one of the possibilities is that it can cause harm in the system. And so I find it as an urgent question before I even went on recess, and I was expecting the minister to come and respond appropriately to the question.
But again, let me find out, how sure are you that despite the fact that this chemical has yet to be certified, it's already being used on the market?
I have gotten some. I have a receipt indicating that I bought some from a shop, and I have a sample.
And have you checked with the relevant authorities to establish the fact that it has yet to go to certification?
Yes, I have checked. I have done my checks. So that's why I don't want to conclude. Though I have done my checks, but I don't want to conclude. I want the minister to conclude, to convince me that, look, indeed, this chemical you are talking about has been approved or hasn't been approved. If it hasn't been approved, then we all find a way of retrieving it from the market. You understand? So I think that it's very important. We should all show concern. This is a very dangerous phenomenon, that if you can have chemicals in our market that are not approved, but for now, we are waiting for the minister to explain whether or not it's been approved.
And you've been provided reasons why you couldn't get the answers to this. Satisfied with the response?
I'm not. In fact, I am exceedingly surprised about the response or the reasons or the excuse the minister sent to Parliament today. Because one, I have indicated that I filed this question, though urgent question, before recess one. Number two, this question was advertised 3 days ago. It was advertised yesterday. It appeared in the business paper. And then it also had appeared in the other paper for yesterday. You understand? And quite apart from that, that particular ministry has 5 ministers. One at the Flagstaff House, the substantive minister making 2, and 3 other deputy ministers. So even if the minister himself is not within the jurisdiction, can't any of the deputies come and answer the question? Interestingly, if you watched on the floor of the House, one of the deputy ministers was right there in the chamber. So does it mean that if the substantive minister is not around, nothing goes on in the ministry? And this is supposed to be a reason for not appearing before the House to answer the question. But I must be quick to add that I'm exceedingly happy about the ruling that Mr. Speaker gave. That one, the minister is being compelled to appear himself, not even the deputy, tomorrow to come and answer the question. Because I think that Mr. Speaker is also interested in the question. Anybody who reads or who hears about the question should be interested, because it has to do with the safety of the indigents in the country.
My final question will be, you are from the cocoa growing area. If we have a chemical that has yet to be satisfied, what is the danger for farmers and to production of cocoa?
One, I mean, it can cause a lot of diseases to the farmers. When they are using it, when they come into contact with it, it can cause a lot of diseases. 2, when they use it to spray the cocoa, it can be deposited in the cocoa beans. So when you consume those cocoa beans, it can also be harmful to your health. 3, it can also be dangerous to the environment where you are spraying. It can also be very dangerous to the environment. You understand? So all these things could be determined by the experts. That look, the chemical component of that particular insecticide is not dangerous. I mean, it is environmentally friendly and all of that. That is why there is the need for every chemical to be certified.